Build, connectivity, performance, and price are the things we usually look for when buying a phone. This is the LG Optimus F5, LG's first product in their F series. And it's also their first attempt to bring an affordable LTE smartphone to the mass. But the question is, will this $299 smartphone satisfy the consumers? Well, we're gonna find out. I'm Jen Garcia, and this is my full review of the LG Optimus F5. LG has made a huge comeback since the release of the Nexus 4, as well as the Optimus G and G Pro. Now earlier this year, they've also released their new lineups for the L series at the CES, and so far, it's been the most popular budget phones on the market. Now with the Optimus F5, their main goal is for consumers to experience the LTE technology without having to pay for an expensive smartphone. Now, the Optimus F5 features a 4.3-inch QHD display with a resolution of 900 by 560 and a pixel density of 256 ppi, a 1.2 GHz dual-core Snapdragon processor, an Adreno 225 GPU, a 1 GB of RAM, a 1.9 megapixel front-facing camera, a 5 megapixel camera on the back, 2150 mAh battery is powering this device, 8 GB of onboard storage, and you can also expand the memory via the micro SD card slot. It's running Android 4.1 Jelly Bean with LG's custom skin on top, and connectivity wise it features 4G LTE, Wi-Fi A, B, G, and N, as well as Bluetooth 4.0. Well, those specifications will certainly not blow you away, but that doesn't mean that it won't perform very well. I'll talk to you about the performance a little later, but for now, let's take a look at the design. Now, the Optimus F5 has got some similarities to the L series and Optimus G, and it has some of the design language from both series, and at the same time you can still tell that it's an LG device. Now, the only part that I'm not a fan of in terms of the design is the checkered patterns on the back, and in my opinion it doesn't look like a man would use this device because of it. Now, being said that, I do love the addition of the chrome around the edges, and it really complements the color of the phone. It feels very solid and sturdy even though it's plastic, and the other thing is that it is comfortable and fits right in the hand. Looking at the placements at the front, you'll find a cold speaker, proximity sensor, a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, LG logo, and the 3 capacitive touch buttons. On the right hand side of the phone, you'll find the power button, and on the other side, you'll also find the volume rocker. Now looking at the top is a 3.5mm headphone jack and a microphone. Another microphone is located on the bottom of the phone, as well as a micro USB port for charging and syncing. On the back of the device, you'll find the speaker grill as well as a 5 megapixel camera with no LED flash. Now opening the back, you'll find the battery, SIM card slot, NFC, as well as the micro SD card slot. Now I guess the fact that it has a removable battery and memory expansion are one of the main selling points of this phone, apart from the LTE and its price. The LG Optimus F5 offers a 4.3-inch QHD LCD panel. While we obviously cannot compare this to an HD display you would find on the Optimus G or the HTC One, for example, but really the main reason why LG didn't choose to do that is to reduce the production cost. Now, the Optimus F5 offers a bright display and great viewing angle. I tested it outside and the screen was still visible, just like the Optimus G or the HTC One. Now, although this isn't the best display, it isn't the worst either. It still produces some decent contrast and color, so you can't really complain about it. And considering that it's only $299, so just think about that. Now let's talk about the battery performance. Now you probably are saying that the 2150 mAh is too small, and that is certainly not the case with the F5. Now if you've used the Optimus G, then you should know by now that LG does a great job optimizing their battery to make it last for longer hours. Now on standby, this will definitely last for days, no problem. On the light consumption, I did get 20 hours. Medium consumption, I got just over 15 hours. Now I was out the other day and constantly using Twitter, Facebook, and I played a few games as well during the travel. And in 5 hours, I had 30+% left. Now just keep in mind that it really depends on how you use your device. So definitely your results and my results are going to be different. Now it charges pretty fast as well, which I believe it has to do with the CPU. Now the battery saver feature on the OS works fairly good as well, and I find it to be more effective, like for example on the HTC One or the Galaxy S4. I'm just going to be straightforward with the camera of the phone. Now if you love taking great shots just by using your smartphone, then this will disappoint you, but for $299 phone, it's okay. Now the shots turned out to be really grainy on both front and back, and a decent video recording quality. Now some shots were also washed out, and it had some trouble with the exposure as well. Now there's no flash as well, so taking photos at night would be a problem. Now you also get varieties of different camera effects, including HDR and panorama, as well as your usual effects you'd find on most smartphones today. Now there's also a cool feature called cheese shutter, which is basically a voice command kind of feature on the camera, and all you need is to say smile or cheese, then it will take a shot for you straight away. So if you like taking selfies, then you will love this feature. Now the camera UI is very easy to use, and it also has a simple layout. There are a few issues when calling using the F5, mainly with the call speaker, and what happens is when you turn on the volume right up, and it will start creating this noise, making voice calls not so clear. But if you don't turn it right up, then it'll sound fine. Now I'm using the Optimus network here in Australia, and I don't really have any dropouts, and overall it was decent. The Optimus F5 is powered by a dual-core Snapdragon processor running at 1.2 GHz, accompanied by Adreno 225 GPU, as well as 1 GB of RAM. Now that's definitely a mid-range specs, and the Quadrant score explains that. Now from Android perspective, you probably are going to be saying to yourself, that's going to lag then. Well, that's not the case with the F5. It was actually very snappy, fluid, and everything was open instantly. Solid performance overall. Now, I didn't really have any problems with multitasking, although I had experience where applications would just randomly close by itself, but other than that, nothing really major. Gaming performance is still good. I was able to play some of my favorite games like the Iron Man 3 for example, as well as Dead Trigger and other less graphic intensive games. Now, my only criticism about it would be the frame rates, and that's where you really need a higher GPU. With that said, I am pleased with its overall performance. While the 4G coverage in Australia is still not as developed comparing to the States, I still did get around 11 megabits per second download speed and 9 megabits of upload speed, but most of the time it was pretty slow. But as I've said, it all has to do with the network. I've always liked LG's custom version of Android because of its functionalities, and most of them are neat. Now, it really does remind me of the TouchWiz UI, just with different icons, but being said that, this is one of the UIs that are closest to stock Android. Now, this is running Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean, which is a little disappointing considering that we're now on Android 4.3. So the main question is when we will receive the Android 4.2 for this. I don't know. On the plus side, there are some handy features on the software, including Quick Memo and Q-Slide apps. Well, Quick Memo basically takes a screenshot on your phone, and then you can also overlay it so you can do other things as well at the same time. And then you can also edit it straight away and be creative with it. The Q-Slide apps is a little similar to multi-screen and pop-up play feature on the Note 2 in a way. You can adjust the size and transparency of it, and you can also use two apps at the same time. Now just keep in mind that you can only use system apps, but apart from that, it really is a great way to multitask and get the most out of the phone. LG has proved itself yet again to bring a phone to the market that combines features and performance at an affordable price. It is a reliable phone, great operating system, and the fact that it has an LTE is a big deal. Now, although there are some issues with the phone, such as the display, camera, lack of LED flash, but other than that, really you do get some great things out of this phone. Well, that's about it, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe, as it really helps the channel out a lot. I'm just Garcia, and I'll see you all in the next one.